What if today was the day everything changed for you? You felt it before. That quiet yet courageous voice inside urging you to aim higher, telling you that hesitation, doubt, and second-guessing aren't truly who you are. What if that voice is right? Today you can stop imagining and start becoming. In this video, we'll teach you how, using a system we call the Fearless Method. It's a framework developed from studying those who consistently succeed. We'll walk you through a 7-step plan to move beyond your fears, giving you a blueprint for success and control. If fear has been holding you back, you can change yourself to fix that. You can do the inner work to stop fear from being a problem, and we're going to show you how. Consider this. Fear has been your companion for too long. It whispers when you're about to take risks, tightens your chest when opportunities arise, and convinces you that playing small is safer. But fear isn't your enemy. It's just a habit, a pattern you've practiced, and if it's a pattern, it's also something you can break. The first pillar of the Fearless Method challenges how you've been taught to view fear. The principle is simple. Turn your fear into an ally. Most people see fear as something to overcome or avoid. Instead, recognize it as valuable information. Fear isn't dumb. It's a compass pointing to your next opportunity for growth. The Stoics understood this. They didn't eliminate fear. They reframed it as data, not destiny. Your fear stems from two sources: biological triggers protecting your ancestors from physical threats, and psychological habits you've practiced throughout life. With awareness, you can distinguish between genuine danger and outdated mental patterns. Start with a practice we call the 60-second fearless technique. When fear strikes, pause for 20 seconds to name and locate the sensation in your body. Spend the next 20 seconds asking, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Then, use the final 20 seconds to consciously decide, will I let this fear guide me or govern me? This simple practice transforms fear from your master into your messenger, exactly what the Stoics prescribed. The second step of the Fearless Method turns intention into action through what we call the fearless commitment. This isn't just a promise to yourself. It's a structured declaration to rewrite your relationship with fear. Begin by documenting the specific fears that hold you back. Beside each fear, write the exact opposite action you'll commit to taking. This creates a roadmap for progress. At the end of each day, write an identity statement affirming your core commitment, not what you want to achieve, but who you're becoming. For example, instead of saying, I want to be confident, say, I am someone who speaks up boldly. Each morning, choose one fear-based pattern to interrupt using this framework. Each evening, document your victory, no matter how small. Over time, this consistent practice reprograms your default response from hesitation to action, building what the Stoics called the habit of courage. The third pillar of the Fearless Method addresses a crucial truth. Your mental state determines your actions. To control your response in fear-inducing situations, we introduce the Fearless Trigger System. Focus on creating deliberate shifts. First, adopt the posture of courage. Shoulders back, chin up, deep breaths. Second, redirect your attention by asking, what opportunity exists here? Finally, use decisive language, replacing I'll try with I will. Practicing this sequence consistently bypasses your brain's fear response, anchoring fearlessness in everyday decisions. Identify moments when fear typically arises, then pre-decide your fearless response to eliminate the gap between opportunity and action. Start with small, low-stakes situations and gradually increase the challenge. The Stoics called this voluntary discomfort, deliberately facing difficulty to build resilience. Through consistent practice, what once triggered fear becomes an automatic opportunity for confident action. The fourth component of the Fearless Method tackles what many fear more than physical pain: rejection. Research with top performers reveals something surprising. They don't just tolerate rejection, they actively pursue it as a pathway to growth. Our rejection conversion formula transforms setbacks into stepping stones. First, practice Stoic detachment by separating rejection from your identity. It's feedback on your approach, not your worth. Second, extract the hidden opportunity. Every no contains valuable data. Third, take immediate counteraction. As the ancient Stoics taught, action dissolves anxiety. Look at famous examples. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter was rejected by 12 publishers before success. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple before returning to revolutionize the company. Rejection forced the refinement that led to their ultimate achievements. Building your fearless rejection muscle requires intentional practice. Start with rejection immersion. Deliberately put yourself in low-stakes situations where rejection is likely. Document each experience, tracking how your emotional recovery time decreases with practice. Soon, what most people fear will become your competitive advantage. The fifth element of the fearless method addresses the root of most fears, your self-concept. Many fears aren't about external threats, but about protecting an identity you've constructed. The fearless method doesn't just change behaviors, it transforms who you believe you are. Identify language patterns that restrict your potential, like, I'm not good at, or I could never. Trace each belief to its origin. You'll discover that most were formed during moments of vulnerability or adopted without question. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you examine your thoughts, you can spot the stains, and once you see them, you can remove them. Fearless communication patterns accelerate transformation. Eliminate hedging language like "I'll try" or "hopefully," replacing it with declarations of certainty. When speaking of your future self, use present tense. I am becoming instead of I will become. This linguistic shift helps your subconscious adopt a less fearful identity. To take it further, practice embodiment. Each morning, physically embody your fearless self for 5 minutes. Adopt the posture, facial expressions, and breathing patterns of someone already living without your current fears. The Stoics practiced this through role rehearsal, acting out virtuous responses to challenges. It bridges the gap between intellectual understanding and whole-body transformation. The sixth component of the fearless method transforms how you evaluate risk, the arena where fear often distorts judgment. Most people base decisions on emotional risk assessment. With the fearless method, you replace that with strategic clarity using a risk evaluation matrix. Plot potential decisions along 2 axes, impact severity and probability. You'll see that most fears cluster in the low probability, low impact quadrant. The Stoics practiced similar discernment, distinguishing between what merely appears frightening and what truly threatens well-being. Applying this system in real time means asking 3 questions. What's the worst realistic outcome? What's the best possible outcome? And what's the cost of inaction? This last question, often overlooked, reveals that avoiding risk is often the riskiest choice. Lastly, balance your approach to risk-reward calculations using a regret minimization framework. Instead of asking what you want now, project yourself to age 80 and ask which choice you'll regret not making. This time shift bypasses immediate fear and aligns decisions with your deeper wisdom. The seventh and final element of the fearless method addresses the greatest challenge in personal transformation: sustaining change. Motivation fluctuates, but systems endure. The fearless method doesn't rely on willpower. It creates an architecture of courage that works automatically. Replace goals with processes. Rather than aiming to be more confident, establish a daily fearless practice that doesn't require decision-making. Seneca wrote, "The sailor's courage grows not by talking of storms, but by commanding vessels." Courage strengthens through consistent, habitual action. Design your fearless environment, recognizing that willpower is finite. Restructure your physical and digital spaces to eliminate fear triggers and amplify courage cues. Remove distractions like smartphones that tempt procrastination. Position items like workout clothes where they're the first thing you see. Your environment should make courage the path of least resistance. When you do this, seemingly minor actions compound into extraordinary results. Each small courageous choice, speaking up in a meeting, initiating a difficult conversation, taking a calculated risk, creates a 1% shift. These micro-decisions compound over time, eventually reaching a tipping point where fearlessness becomes your default state, not just your aspiration. Now that you understand the fearless method, let's explore how these principles might work in your life. Imagine you've spent years in the same position at work, despite having innovative ideas that could transform your company. You remain silent in meetings, paralyzed by the fear of rejection. This fear isn't just holding back your career, it's costing your company opportunities and blocking your best contributions. You begin with the 60-second fearless technique. When anxiety surges before sharing your ideas, you pause to locate the sensation. A tightness in your throat, a flutter in your stomach, tension across your shoulders. You recognize that this fear isn't protecting you from actual danger, but from imagined judgment. In that awareness, you can choose your response. Next, you create your commitment. Document your specific fear, perhaps public criticism or being seen as incompetent, and commit to the opposite action. I will share at least one original idea in every meeting, regardless of comfort. Your fearless identity statement becomes, I am someone who contributes value without needing certainty of outcome. The transformation isn't immediate. In your first attempt, your voice might tremble as you suggest a new approach. Though, your idea might not be implemented immediately. You experience something unexpected. Respect from colleagues who appreciate your contribution. The rejection you feared transforms into validation of your courage. The key to consistency lies in recognizing that fear triggers specific physical and mental responses. When faced with uncertainty, your body tenses, your breathing shallows, and your mind races toward worst-case scenarios. These reactions are biological protection mechanisms designed for physical threats, not professional challenges. Transformation begins with interrupting this pattern. When you feel fear arising, pause for 3 deep breaths. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, counteracting the stress response. Then straighten your posture. Research shows that adopting power poses for just 2 minutes increases confidence hormones while reducing stress hormones. Next comes the mental reframe. Instead of thinking, I hope this goes well, assert, this will go well because I've prepared thoroughly. Replace, I'll try to address their concerns, with, I will address their concerns directly. This isn't empty positive thinking. It's strategic language that directs your brain toward solution finding rather than threat scanning. Through the 7 pillars we've explored, you now possess the tools to live with unprecedented courage. Remember, fearlessness isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. The 60-second fearless technique gives you immediate control when fear strikes. The fearless commitment transforms intention into consistent action. The fearless trigger. System reprograms your responses to challenging situations. The rejection conversion formula turns setbacks into stepping stones. Language pattern awareness reshapes your self-concept. The risk evaluation matrix brings clarity to decision-making. What matters now isn't knowledge, it's implementation. Start with one small courageous action today, then another tomorrow. These micro-decisions compound over time, eventually reaching a tipping point where courage becomes your default lived-in state. As the Stoics understood centuries ago, courage isn't something you have, it's something you practice. And with each practice, you're not just doing one thing differently, you're becoming different. The question is no longer, what if today was the day you made everything change? But rather, today is the day everything changes. Your fearless future awaits. In upcoming videos, we'll explore how ancient Stoic wisdom perfectly complements the system you've just learned. These philosophies share a powerful core truth. Facing fear directly transforms not just your actions, but your very identity. Whether you're confronting workplace anxieties, relationship fears, or creative blocks, the combination of Stoic principles and confidence triggers creates a framework for consistent courage. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications to join our community of modern Stoics who are mastering their fears rather than being mastered by them. Your engagement helps others discover these transformative tools during their moments of greatest need. Each comment sharing your experiences refines our understanding of how these ancient practices work in contemporary settings. The path to Fearless living is paved with small, deliberate acts of courage. Your journey continues now.